I met Sean and Cass from the Very Ape Podcast from Noah, who runs the MindPod Network. I am trying to do more podcasty things. And apparently one of those things that you do when you are a podcaster is go on other people's podcasts. And so I present to you the Very Ape Podcast, a podcast that focuses on love, psychedelic, threesomes, thruples, sex and sensuality, and how can we use psychedelics in a healing way. Introducing Very Ape times you're welcome. Let's go.
Here we are. Are we on each other's podcast, or what is this?
Yeah, I was also going to record you, but it turns out y'all are way more pro than my bust journalist has, so
Yeah.
We're going to use your recording for sure.
We always end up using our equipment even on other people's podcasts. I don't know why.
Because you guys are so professional.
Yeah. I think. We're Sean and Cass, and we're on a path. We're very much students, and we are way into consciousness expansion, and we started out as documentary filmmakers, which is going to be our lifelong passion. But that's very expensive and time consuming, and so we, between those projects, started doing a podcast and meeting lots of friends and making this huge psychedelic network. And that's kind of what we're committed to right now, is building a community.
And all our movies are available for free on veryape.tv.
Yes, it's a Nirvana song. That's the name of our company, Very Ape, and we make podcasts and films.
Yeah, we made a bunch of shorts and features. They're like more experiential documentaries than informational documentaries. They're fun, fringe Americana stuff.
That's like all I do is niche freaks everywhere. It's my love. It's my joy.
Wait, you haven't done your introduction.
Oh, sorry. Hi.
Hi.
I'm Zoe Nightingale Superstar.
Oh.
I gave myself the third name. My mother gave me my actual name. I was born Zoe Nightingale Wiseman. I also was in a really, really, really terrible car accident. After I healed from that, which took a long time, I just needed a whole redo. And I moved to New York, I dropped the name, and I was Zoe Nightingale. I started my podcast in 2013. And I did it because I had started an eyewear business, which was basically a rave and party business where I was making handmade eyewear that had a little spoon at the end of it. And I had made it because my roommate kept losing our keys because he was using them to do drugs with. And so I was like, you know what? I had a business partner at the time. We were trying to design sunglasses for raves. And we thought together, like, why don't we make a line of eyewear that has spoons in it for the blossoming underground techno scene that we were all part of. And it was this huge movement of DJ, this whole alternative nightlife world. This was years ago. And so I built this entire business on this eyewear. We sold beautiful handmade things from all over the world. I had stores and I had vending machines. I was crushing it. I thought I was living my very best life, but I always loved storytelling. I loved radio. I loved Garrison Keillor. I loved NPR. I loved Dick Gordon. I loved Hot Jazz Saturday Nights. I always loved the cadence and the tonalities and the way that somebody could paint a portrait. I had a best friend at the time, this guy named Jimmy, and he was a music producer. And I was like, I'm doing business with all these men that don't respect me. And I just was not living my best life. And he said, why don't we just go on the streets and why don't we do what you do best, which is talk shit to people. And so I got a foam cardboard sign that said free sex advice. And we sat in Union Square and he showed me how to use recorders. And I'm so grateful to him forever for that. We just had this little table and we drew a crowd almost immediately. And I watched as the person in front of me was transformed and I was transformed and the people listening to that person's story were transformed. It was a magic in the air that I will never forget. And I was just like, this is it. This is my calling. But of course, there's no money in it. So I worked on the side and I did this podcast and I've been just doing it now for 6 years and it's grown and it's grown and it's grown. And I think I've been able to really make it about others as opposed to a narcissist circle for myself. I think I was trying to hear my own self in the beginning. I wasn't listening as well. I wasn't listening with like my full integrity, but I learned over many, many years how to really listen and how to bring the best out in people through humor and how to talk about things that were really difficult using humor and how to make it really obvious that we are all the same. Everybody is dealing with the same really difficult repercussions of trying to get through the game of life, right? So the whole point of my podcast, I think, is just to share everyone's story. Mostly people who don't get a spotlight. I talk to a lot of homeless people, talk to a lot of felons, prostitutes, porn stars, furries, different anime worlds. A lot of people that people think are freaks. Pup community, people who dress up in leather masks and basically sniff each other's assholes and play on gym mats with each other. I don't know how to describe it. And they're all the same. And they're all beautiful, warm storytellers. Everybody, if you give them a chance, if you look them in the eyes and you allow them to have dignity and space within their own life's process, you do that, you can get gold from anyone. I'm sure you guys know this. It's part of the storytelling game, right? And so I've just been doing that for years and having other side jobs, trying to make money and trying not to marry for money and trying to live the best life I can while living in New York City, the most expensive place in the whole fucking world, and do what I love, which is to tell stories.
You're doing a good job of it.
Thanks.
I mean, geez, it seems like you're drawn to the same exact type of subject matter as us.
Pretty much. That's why I think Noah put us together. Thank you, Noah. Shout out to Synchronicity.
I feel like there's a collaboration in our future, and I don't know what it is. It just feels strongly
absolutely.
that
Our thing has always been like, let's just have fun. Like, life should be fucking fun. So, like, let's lean into that. Not that our lives weren't fun before, but when we got together, and it was undeniable. Like, when we got caught cheating, there was a little window of time where this might not have happened, Cass and I. And I remember distinctly, it's like standing on this Brooklyn rooftop with a friend of mine. And I'm asking him, like, yo, what do you think I should do? And I can't believe I even asked him because I don't need advice and I knew what I was going to do. But he was like, you got to fix your marriage, man. And I was like, yeah, I'm not going to do that. Like, I'm in love with Cass. I'm going to write her a letter and we're going to get together. And we did. And we haven't left each other's side ever since. It was really beautiful. We both discovered psychedelics together and then discovered we really wanted to live a psychedelic life together, which is really not necessarily about taking psychedelics all the time, but it's about a life filled with possibility and wonder and being inspired and turned on all the time. And we're committed to that. We pray about that every day.
To find a partner who is ready to do the work, to actually get through the shame and the past blackness and work through it is so hard to find. People who are brave enough to see you at your fucking worst and to love you despite it and then hold space for you to be your best self through it is so radically beautiful. It's like the best. Congratulations, guys. It's really beautiful.
You seem very free, though.
I am.
Like you can make anything happen.
I can.
I also think there's no rules because, like, when I met Sean, I was like, I'm never falling in love again. Just so you know.
Weren't you like 18?
I was 21 and I had no intentions of ever being in love again.
What had happened to you by 21 that could make you say such a crazy statement?
Emotionally dependent relationships is what maybe I'm attracted to. And I find myself in a little bit, like wanting to be helpful and invest and realizing that, like, I can't necessarily make someone else happy and it's exhausting. And I need time to be alone and have fun and not have my identity wrapped up with someone else.
Too bad. 10 years later.
I know.
Way to ruin her youth, bud.
I know. I think about that all the time.
But you let her fuck whoever she wants, so it's actually totally fine.
Wait, what gave you that impression?
What you don't have that impression?
Well, I just don't want to fuck anyone. It makes it really easy.
But you have the space to be able to explore sexuality with your partner, which is something that a lot of people don't have.
Yeah, I'm not like bitter or anything.
He just got the #1 dick. Way to go, babes.
So far.
Yeah.
So far.
He makes it very easy in that way.
To have the very best dick?
Yeah.
Well, and you've been very attracted to women.
Yeah, that makes it easy too.
It makes it way easier than wanting to slob on tons of different knobs.
Yeah.
I think men
This wouldn't work if she did. It would just be such a weird dynamic from day one.
He thinks men are creepy.
They are creepy.
And I've kind of started to adopt that way of looking at the world.
I think you know what creepy and
He
like
doesn't want a guy like
way.
jerking off in the corner, and I can't really blame him.
Why would anybody ever want that? Nobody wants to watch a guy jerk off ever.
Yeah, but like when Cass is jerking off in the corner, it's awesome.
Yeah, but there's no creepy dude eyes.
Yeah,
the fucking like green, like beady eyes catching the light as they sit there and fucking stroke at you. Oh, it's
Eagle
disgusting.
claw,
Oh man,
death
I
grip.
can't even. I would like to tell you guys about something very exciting that I just learned
Please.
about. Have you guys heard of the grapefruit technique?
No.
There is a fabulous woman who's made a series of videos, like sexual techniques on the internet. And she instructs you about how to suck your man's dick while using a boiled and cut into a disc grapefruit, like a fleshlight at the bottom of the dick. And you blindfold him. Don't tell him what's about to happen. You got to test it out because it can be too hot or too cold. So you blindfold him and you don't tell him what's happening. And then you insert this warm disc, maybe 2 inches thick grapefruit on the bottom of his dick. You go down on him and then you do the normal, I know what I'm doing, porn hand movement with the rolling wrist. Bad for tennis, good for blowjobs. and you suck them off with this. And not only it's just a really great video because the woman has this just the way she describes it. She makes it into a verb and an adjective and all these amazing sexual references. And it's like you just do this until they come. And it makes fresh juice. So you're sucking dick, getting fresh juice. It's the perfect morning routine.
Have you tried this?
I have.
And what was the review?
I just did it. So I found out about this a couple months ago, but I didn't have anybody to do it with. And then I met this amazing man. I probably too quickly, for taste's sake, was like, listen, I've been trying to try out this thing and I really like you. So what I did was I sent him the video, which was a mistake because you were supposed to do it without telling them. So that was my first mistake. Man. So I sent him this video of the grapefruit stick, and then I sent him a video of me at a Korean market buying grapefruits. And I said, are you free later? And he said, I don't understand. And I was like, what is there to understand about this? Yeah, we did it, and it's just a mess. It's just like nightmare. It's like
something for the bathtub.
And it just created this wonderful, even playing field of this is where we can go. We can know where to go, but up from here.
But I was going to say, maybe you spoiled him, and he's going to be expecting the grapefruit every time.
That's not spoiling him. I will, if I love someone, I will grapefruit them every day for the rest of their life. Really, he sent me messages like, I have to live now with us doing that forever. I was like, all I can think about is what else can I think of to do that with?
Why grapefruit?
It's very tight, and you cut a little hole right in the middle of it. And what's amazing is the woman, she's African American. She's like, you should cut a hole relative to the size of your man's dick. And she like cuts all the pulp out. It's just this giant. You're like, who are you fucking? Seriously, like a linebacker for the Lions? It's the new technique. It's all the rage. You guys definitely need to try it.
The teens love it.
I don't even know it's teens. I think it's bored married couples. This is the shit you bring out when you're really bored of each other. I'm going to
start being suspicious when I see people purchasing grapefruit.
I know we're going to be bored when we pull out the grapefruit. Yeah.
Think about a really good grapefruit. Imagine the guy could have like a 7-day party butt dick from Burning Man, a porta potty dick, and it'll clean it up so quick.
Have you ever had bad sex?
Yeah.
What's that all about?
Bad sex is about you being insecure, overreacting to their reaction to your body and your techniques, and also drugs. Drugs make bad sex sometimes.
What drugs?
Cocaine mostly.
I knew you were going to say that. I've never tried it.
Wow.
No, not for us. Cass has tried it.
Wow, that's a not for us. You can group her. You're that kind of couple. You
if we were in Colombia and we're fucking partying, whatever, and we could get access to good stuff, maybe one night.
Well, I just think that drugs in general, I don't know about acid because I haven't really done a lot of psychedelic sex.
Oh, Lord, we have a story for you.
I stopped snorting things and doing that kind of life, mostly out of necessity to clean up my soul deeply, like a deep need to clean out my entire life, really. Drugs, when used wrongly, just lead to, for me, it was leading to like a depreciation of my moral values and code. Being sober has actually lent itself to some of the greatest self I can be, which makes me sad, but it's just the truth for me in this moment.
Sad that you can't do it, or sad that you spent so much time?
I mean, I don't know. I just, the way that the people in my world use drugs is no longer as a tool. And I think that drugs can be, especially plant medicine when used right, or ketamine when used right, when different kinds of
LSD.
And these are things that you can use as an incredible tool given from the literal gods to help you cleanse your child self of its past shame. And that's really what we're all trying to do, right? I really needed to do an entire life inventory and a reset and a redo. And I look forward to very much the day that I can party like Kid Rock in 2002. Pamela Lee on a fucking yacht, yo. I'm trying to live that life. For me right now, I'm just so honored and grateful that I've been given a second chance to use my talents for good and do good with my hands and have an open heart.
You seem to be tapped into all of it.
I mean, I have ideas. All I want to do is learn from you and your beautiful throupleness.
Yeah.
I don't know how you do it.
I think we imploded that. I think that's actually the big failure on our...
How is that a big failure?
You just, because it's like a drug. We knew that we shouldn't do that drug on certain days. We knew we needed to like cool off on this drug a little bit, but none of us could. Our partner had an apartment and she was just never going there.
When you're together, who wants to leave the fun time? None of us do. So like we're getting sick by spending all our time together. But
the highest highs.
It's so you get so high together. and you'd become this relationship, but family energy vibe. It felt very strong. It was all very loving. And then ultimately, maybe there's compatibility issues, and
it feels like something like that could work out, though.
I don't know. My mom always says 3 people is like the hardest relationships. Like, they're destined to fail. Like, she tries to make me feel better by saying, yo, like, Cass, that was like never gonna work.
Oh, you're still grieving this together.
Us?
I am.
Oh, maybe. We did we smoked psychedelic toad medicine.
Shut up. You did not.
Yeah.
That poor frog, they have to put it up on like a crucifix and then get its weird oil out of its skin by scaring it.
We're like animal lovers.
You're vegan and you'll still take toad oil that's like from a scared frog? There's some things to think about here.
We have some deep hypocrisy we have to deal with.
That's it. That's it right there. We did it a few times, and the last time we did it, we said a prayer to cut cord with this relationship, and it worked for me. That medicine answered prayers, really, because it just takes you beyond reality, man.
You smoke this poor toad that was strung up like Jesus on the cross that somehow your vegan ass has no problem.
But then I was strung up like Jesus on the cross when I smoked it, so it's all balanced.
It came back around.
Yeah.
But so can you walk me through what it's like to smoke toad, and then walk me through the clarity that came how your prayer was answered in terms of the end of this relationship?
We had smoked toad once back in September, and it blew our fucking minds. It was the scariest month leading up to anything I've ever done. I was having anxiety. I was waking up in the middle of the night, like, leading up to it, scared shitless. And we had done so many psychedelics already. But this toad we knew was really kind of the ultimate of the ultimate. So we did it in September, blew our minds, and kind of restarted our life. And we were like rebuilding, so then grieving this relationship ending in a proper way, and really me grieving every loss I've had in my life in a proper way.
Oh, gee, all at once?
Yeah.
Jesus.
It was fine.
How long does that take?
It's still going on, but it's just calmed down. But it was really red hot for like a few months of like writing letters of apology to people, like setting the record straight.
On steroids.
Fuck yeah, exactly. Because this woman left us, like we were best friends.
She left you?
Yeah, she left us, and like she was our best friend.
I was not expecting that.
Yeah. There was, no, I know. It was unexpected. I think all of us thought it was unexpected.
Like a Dear John letter in the middle of the night? How did she leave you?
No, like one morning after hot yoga, when we're all emotional, we're like got in an argument, and she packed her bag. We had arguments before, but like she packed her bag.
This is the most granola Trader Joe hippie shit I've ever heard.
It really is.
One morning after hot yoga, we were like super emotional after smoking too much toad.
Pretty much.
And she took her kombucha.
We're
she
more
took all her granola and her hula hoop, and she went home.
Yeah, it was basically like that. No, like she took off, and we were just fucked up over it. That was the last little remnants of it, was that last bit of, fuck, no one's ever left me before. Like, what the fuck? And then we go to this toad ceremony, and it was just us two. And we went to our friend that does it, that facilitates it. And we went to see her. And before we did it, like for 2 hours, she sat us down and said, let's go deep. Like, what's bothering you? Like, let's get into this. And we just kept bringing up our ex, to our both surprise, so long after the breakup. So she's like, okay, that's the prayer, because this answered prayers. And she told us how and everything. And I think that has to do with just going beyond a place where stories can even be told, and having compassion for everything. We smoked it, and I really, really, really did feel like we let it, for me, I can't speak for you, for me, that like settled it all down. It was like, okay, cool. She's my friend. That was dope. It's over now. It's cool. I'm happy for her.
It gave you closure without needing closure from her.
Yes. That's what it is.
Great.
That's what it's so hard that if you can get through that, you can self-soothe in a way that you got yourself. And I didn't need anything from her. It was so clear. I didn't need anything from her. She didn't need anything from me.
I'm just trying to imagine a world where I'm with my 10-year deep love partner, my psychedelic foxhole love partner, and we're both grieving the loss of someone who left us.
Yeah.
It's like revolutionary.
We barely ever talk about it, because
we can't, because
who would even understand? But it took doing this weird fucking triad, throuple, whatever we're calling it,
It's amazing that the two of you, with as strong of a relationship you have, needed a third party to bring out the last residual problems.
It came right at the time. I had, right before Cass, I had 2 7-year relationships. They both ended right at 7 years. From when I was 16 to 23, and then 23 to 30. And then at 30, Cass and I got together, and it was right
right at that point.
It's funny. Every 7 years, you regenerate your cellular structure. You're a whole new body. She got you as a whole new man.
Yeah.
Same
totally.
good dick.
I said you're not going anywhere though.
Whole new man.
Yeah, she said, I'm going to stick through. It's whether it's not the climate. I know this guy. And the way that relationship happened was so
Organic.
very organic. Nobody pursued it. Nobody had the idea for it at any point. It just kind of happened.
No pesticides, huh?
Very organic, yeah. And there was weeds, and we didn't do enough.
No
weed.
Roundup, no Monsanto.
No. Oh my
It was a
God.
mess.
Yeah, it was a wild trip. Well, I wish we were all friends.
Where's the social media world for her? Was she going to post all three of you on her Facebook profile?
No, she did. We went there. We went to weddings together. We like fucking.
Did you? So I'm sorry.
We did this
People
podcast
invite you
together.
to a wedding and you're like, sorry, I need +2?
I did. I called.
Fuck off.
The first
You're the
night
worst
we
wedding
were-
guest ever.
We were the best.
Or the best.
We were
No.
the best wedding
No.
guests. We cracked
It's
so
like
many
$150
consciousness.
a head, dude. You're bringing $300 worth of relationship with you?
He was the best man though.
Yeah, I paid
feel
for
like-
the bachelor party.
So you are stronger because of this.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Way stronger. And we
And
know
you
the
tell your
patterns.
parents about this.
Oh, totally.
And you
We all hung
broadcast
out.
on a podcast and you do it on social media and you are loud and you are
Yeah.
proud
Yeah.
in your threesome world.
Yeah.
That's fucking awesome. Good
Yeah.
for you. Does it ever bring up stuff for other people? It
Oh yeah.
must.
Friends will either just kind of like fall out of your life a little bit.
My mom stopped talking to Sean. She was so mad at him. Like we like totally. It was
Yeah.
I would be on the phone yelling at her, and then of course she comes around. It's more funny from when we told Sean's parents because we literally just showed up, the three of us.
Oh, God, you're still in love with her. Oh,
We'll always be in
brutal.
love with her. Not in love, but yeah, I guess.
Well,
Yeah.
whoever she is, she must be incredible.
Yeah. Oh,
She's
God.
on the MindPod network,
Yeah.
and she is incredible.
Well, if I ever accidentally go down on her, I will think of you.
Oh God.
Yeah. if you need
I'm
any
just kidding. I'm
pointers.
really bad at going down on girls. I freak out. It will never happen. If you guys could help me successfully have sex with a woman, it would change my life.
I think it's just about slowing down.
No,
I
it's
don't
about
know.
getting the Jewish neuroticism out of my brain that can't stop talking when I'm nervous and don't know what I'm doing.
So you get nervous when a girl and you are feeling sexy together?
I have an entire series about me trying to fuck women, and each one is more hilariously pathetic than the
Wait
next.
a second. I think I heard one of your things. I just clicked on a random thing and then hit to the middle of it, and you were talking about being at like a pussy eating party.
So I was invited to do stand up at a all-female straight woman bi-curious, very fancy women's orgy for women who are like curious but not lesbians. And then so it's a bunch of straight women who no one knows what they're doing. And there's like a couple like seasoned sprinkled in carpet munchers to the fullest there to like try to manage
I will
things.
donate my time.
I've gone twice. Each time was more embarrassing than the last. Well, first of all, I set myself up for failure because my entire stand-up was built around me failing at fucking women. So then, like, women were like, I'm going to be the one. I'm going to show you the ropes. And I just got really nervous from the beginning. And then I decided to take some ketamine, which was the worst possible choice.
Yeah.
Basically what happened was it was very psychedelic ketamine, and I've taken different kinds of K where it's like very loose and heart opening, it's fine, and then there's fucking trippy ass ketamine where you see like fly eye vision and everything just fractals, right? So I take a little bit of K. I was like, I'll just take a little bit. It'll ease my nerves. It'll help. I've also had like 17 pink raspberry mojitos or something at this point because I was doing stand-up one, so I'm nervous, and then I'm trying to have sex with women, super nervous. And all the women are like super rich. I didn't know what to wear. That was like a whole other thing. I didn't feel confident in my outfit. It's a nightmare. Anyway, it deeply makes me sad because I go to all this sex stuff all the time, and I always try to be the most in it, and I'm always the one that's the most nervous and ends
It
up leaving.
sounds like why would you have this high bar for the kind of connection you want to have with male partners? Why wouldn't that bar exist for
well,
women?
where am I going to go to just meet a psychedelic girlfriend? What have you got
That's
a
like
bar?
the easiest
we know a
fucking
place.
thing.
Yeah, we know some places.
I'm so inspired and moved by your ability to just connect on so many multiple channels. I only know how to be in love with one thing. I know how to be deeply in love with one person. And your ability to hold space for multiple versions of love is really something I aspire to do. So it's just very cool. And I know you come with a lot of work and a lot of heartache and a lot of growth. It's radical, and you guys should be super psyched to be yourselves. And I know you are already. I'll be a mirror for real quick.
We're on a peak right now, especially.
Yeah,
Like, if
I'm
you would have talked
sure.
to us 2 months ago, it's not.
You've been
what
like
you
slitting
think.
your wrist to a Nirvana song in the corner somewhere.
Pretty much. Very ape.
Can we just do like a prayer that this fucking dick patriarchy bullshit is going to finally leave and there's going to be some kind of resolution in our political sense and the way that people are treated, all of these things. Can we just not have a rapist president?
let's not have a president.
Okay.
Let's take it a little further. You know what I mean? Let's get real. Like, do we really need all this? Do we really need all these people like pushing us around and taxing us for stuff and then spending all our money?
You pay taxes?
No. No,
exactly.
But like, you know,
you don't have a guy named Morty who lives in Beirut who takes care of your taxes. I got a guy for you.
No, we don't pay them. Someone else takes care of all that shit. That money, you know what it's going towards is finding better and better ways to kill people and finding better ways to kill people 25 years from now and developing those technologies. How come we can't be conscientious objectors in that sense? Because there is no anti-war movement.
Well, we'd have to stop smoking toad and start dedicating our lives towards helping the planet, wouldn't we?
Well, yeah.
What can we do? Can we make some proclamations as a throuple, a non-sexual throuple, about some things that we can do with our voice? Because we have the resources, we have the tools. Like, what are like small things that we can actually do to make some radical change in our little world spheres?
Well, what we've found with the films, we made a film called Oxiana where we went down and I just stumbled across this old coal mining town of 1,500 people called Oceana, West Virginia. And I went there on a road trip with a cowboy friend of ours. We just stopped in this town and I saw Juggalo and I went over to him and he's like, oh my God, I've seen American Juggalo.
He was like a random Juggalo?
Juggalo, a West Virginian Juggalo in this old coal mining town.
With the face and the whole thing?
No, he had a Juggalo shirt on.
I was going to say, this is like commitment because that makeup looks difficult to apply.
Yeah. So I talked to this guy and he's like, listen, if you want to know what this town's really about, it's about dope. And the actual nickname of this place is Oxiana. Everyone here is strung out on OxyContin. So we hung around for a few days and saw that was the case. And I was like, I think I got to come back here and make a movie. These people are begging to be heard. I'm not even asking them. And they're like, my brother died.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, you're not from here? My dad died. My brother died. We need help. Not like I could do anything, but I'm a storyteller. So I went back there and I let all the people tell their stories. And we made a film called Oxiana. And that's had a good reach. And that we were like early on that beat of saying there is an opioid epidemic. And I don't even know if I like that word anymore. And it's a lot more nuanced than that. But people were fucking pissed that we were even pointing this out. And now that was like 6 years ago we put that out. And I think now we want to do something about homelessness. And you're really the first person I'm talking to about this, but we can take the same approach and do that.
That's fucking awesome. I am working on a homeless project. I got completely fucked over by Very Mission. They're a wonderful organization. No, God bless them. They do incredible work. I'm not denouncing them in any way. But I got a green light to do this project that I've wanted to do forever. I talk to a lot of homeless all the time. I have for years. But it's always in a weird way. We're like on the side of the street. We're by a dumpster. It's in like the rain. We're trying to find a quiet space. So they provided a space for me. We'd eaten together. They were in a safe environment. And we had a quiet space to really sit and dig into how they got there, what their family was like. What could I do to help them, to raise individual asks for steel-toed shoes, or a lot of people want hygiene kits, or different things like real needs, real wants and asks. And I worked on this forever, and it was such beautiful work. It made me so happy in between all my porn work, which was also beautiful. Like, to do this really made me so happy. And then I got a letter, which I'll read to you. I told them from the very beginning, I've worked with sex workers. I've worked with off-color people, with felons, with whatever. I've talked about sexual issues. I'm a Jew. I don't respect religion, and I support atheists. This is the kind of person I am. It has nothing to do with my work, and you have full say over it. And I'm really going to tangent, but I'm just going to read to you very quickly. After months and months of work with Very Mission, what they wrote to me. Good morning, Zoe. Unfortunately, the Very Mission will no longer be able to proceed with the podcast series. After deeper review of your online presence, we feel it wouldn't be the best brand alignment for the mission. You've been a dedicated volunteer for the past few months, and we hope you continue to serve the Very Mission of New York City Rescue Mission. In the future, we can just no longer proceed with this podcast. I will notify all staff, including the food services team. Please turn in your ID. Thank you for everything you have done to serve our community experiencing homelessness, hunger, and poverty. Be well. I just wanted to kill someone. First of all, I felt like the biggest whore on the internet. What is it that they saw? What is the thing that finally some pastor was like, nope, not this Jezebel. She can't work with the homeless to tell their stories. Anyway, I'm telling you, this is a very long-winded story to tell you that I am now working on the similar series. And what we're doing is I'm trying to get 5 people off the streets and into government housing using only the resources of New York. I'm not talking about raising money. trying to help walk alongside with people to use the mental health resources. New York City has a shit ton of resources, but nobody has the capacity or the ability to fill out the form, show up to the meetings. The whole point is, how do I get them off the fucking street? How do I take one person and get them a home? And how do we use the resources available to us to actually do something in one of the richest cities in the world with the most resources on the planet? How do we do it? How do we just get them an apartment? And what is the help that actually helps people get them off the street?
Yeah. Well, I think like one of the things that we've realized with these films, especially the case study being so far in the past now, is Oxyana is just a film of people who are addicted, who are talking about how they got addicted and what it's like to be addicted and what they've seen and gone through in that town. And the kind of the fallout of capitalists when they go and they suck the resources out of a place and they just leave it.
Is the responsibility so dissolved that it's like their blood's not on their hands?
Well, I mean, it's actually not even like that. They can figure out pretty clearly who it is, but they're so hypnotized that they're still all for the coal industry there. They don't see it the way that outsiders do. So I knew enough that I didn't know enough to say, here's how to solve this problem. So I just let them tell their stories. And what happens is, if you put these films out for free, like we do, all of our work is free. People see it, it touches their hearts, it expands their circle of compassion, and they're treating the person in their family that was addicted differently, and they're treating their brother differently.
Oh, it's so beautiful. You guys are fucking crushing it.
That's where you can change the world, and that's why documentary for us is a spiritual practice. Because
so sick, you guys.
My dad is a substance abuser, and I grew up with all that shit. And when I went to Oxyana, it felt like when my dad used to come home fucked up. The whole time I was tight. And I was like, I got to deal with this. I got to open my heart, because I used to deal with my dad in a very standoffish, oh, I'm cutting off my love until you clean your act up. And that's just not the way. They started using drugs because of that disconnection. The people in Oxyana showed me how to love again, and they expanded my heart. And we took that to the people in a very pure way. And what we've found in these processes is you can't go to organizations, you can't go to anyone and expect them to give you permission to do something that's that hard hitting. They don't want to have anything to do with it. Yeah, they don't want to have anything to do with the interview where the guy's like, I came home and my dad had killed my brother, my mother, and himself. And there was pills everywhere, and he killed my brother over pills. And not only that, I took those pills before I called the cops. You know what I mean? Like, what organization's going to be like, check, yes, here's the check for that. They're not going to. You know, it was a scary time. So this film helped me process, and I figured if I put it out in a pure way, it could help other people process. I
can't fucking wait to see this shit.
Yeah, it's cool. Yeah, all of our films have that element to it. What is it called?
Tell me, what is it? Is it Oxyana?
Yeah.
Cool.
Oxyana, and that's available on veryape.tv as well.
It's funny because I've heard so many people describe their city as the pill or heroin capital. Everyone's like, oh yeah, like my part of Pennsylvania, that's like the heroin capital. Really? Because I thought this part of Oregon or this part of fucking Michigan, it's everywhere.
Yeah. And it's so funny how many comments we got like that and still do. Like people being like, no, this ain't nothing compared to. And it's like, no, that was the point. This is everywhere, USA. These are people that for generations kept the fucking lights on in this country. And we turned our back on them generations ago. And they're sick with black lung. And they're dealing with all these mental issues. And they're dying young. And they're dying in horrible accidents and not being compensated for it. And this is happening everywhere with all kinds of industries. It was so just American. These people have been exploited. They love their exploiter. They worship them, and now they worship these pills, and they're stuck in these mountains, and they don't know what to do, and they need our compassion. They need us to look at addiction differently, and they need us to look inside and like kind of take the walls down around our hearts. And you know, I will say like half the people that watch our film will be like, those people are disgusting. We should drop a nuclear bomb in that place.
No.
But it says more about them than the people. Those people were very generous.
We should just open up a boga clinic, some ibogaine clinics everywhere.
People are starting to do that down there.
It's still illegal. I can't do it. It's Schedule 1.
I think you can get away with it though. The federal government really does not want to fuck with a lot of this stuff. I'm not saying we could get away with it or we would ever attempt to work with these medicines. And when we talk about it, we're usually joking, right, Cass?
Mm-hmm. Iboga is so powerful. I had such a beautiful experience with Iboga.
Tell us about it.
I was just in a world of partying. And I was in a relationship with someone who was deeply ill, deeply ill, and a beautiful human being that I hope is well. I did it out of journalistic curiosity because I thought I could make a good podcast. And I do a lot of stuff just like, I can make a podcast. This will be fine. was like, I'll just try this. This will be interesting. And so I went to this place called the Iboga Wellness Center in Costa Rica. And I was fucking terrified. And I made an entire series. But Iboga is a incredibly deep and dark spirit. It is not ayahuasca. It is not the mother. It is not the beautiful flowing vines of nature's Eden. It is a black jaguar that rips through your body and eats you alive. And it is the most physically uncomfortable thing I've ever experienced. I've never had a combo because I'm terrified. I can never go to the bathroom in front of people. I freak out. Too Jewish. I'm sorry. I come from a long line of Nebuchadnezzar warriors. I'm like, where am I going to go to the bathroom? How am I going to get there in time? What if I do it on myself? Oh my God. Iboga is so powerful. And it is the most vile tasting. Have you guys ever tasted it?
No, not yet.
So the place I went to is a purist place where they make you inhale the bark in powder form. And what you don't understand is that I couldn't see the box that they had. I couldn't see the levels that they had, and they shoved it. They put your throat back, and you're so scared that you're about to like literally shit yourself. Like before the drugs even happen, I'm about to have a nervous breakdown. I do not like being out of control. I do not like being on hallucinogenics that are strong. Like I don't like being out of my body. I like being fucked up and happy and laughing and rolling and fucking and being a child in the sun with fireflies. I am really bad at being in the dark corners of my psyche. Terrible at it. And I'm better now. They take this box and you can't see into it. And they take a spoon. You can't see it because it's dark. And they shove this spoon all the way down your throat like I'm feeding a baby boy, like down your gullet, like a foie gras goose, like all the way fucking down your throat. The whole thing is full of this silky Nesquik but fine powder that sticks to the side of your throat and invades every fucking orifice and it gets in up through your nose and you're like choking. Like I thought I was going to choke to death. And the moment it invades your body, you know something's wrong. Your body's like, oh my fucking God, what have you done, you idiot? I finally choke it down and then they come back and give you another pills that are distilled, more concentrated syrup version of it. And then they give you those. And then you wait. And you're in a fire with these 13 people you've just met and you've got to know them over telling stories around the fire, learning about the psychedelic porcupine that the shaman found in the trees of Gabon. You get to know each other, but the whole time you're all just terrified and you're nervously looking around each other being like, oh my God, like we're about to do this thing together. Within 5 minutes, this chick, Michelle, who's this wonderful, never done a drug, dope ass chick, 27, wonderful human, never done a drug, never in her life. Because her father was a drug dealer and she'd seen all these people, all these horrible repercussions of drugs. She had all this shit to work out. Somehow she found Iboga. I don't know how. This is the first drug she's ever taken.
No.
And yeah, I swear. And I looked to her and this super strong, badass bitch who's like in charge of shit. She's just drooling on herself dead. And then I start to panic.
Yeah, of course.
One by one, you put your hand up when you decide like you're high enough that like you need to be laying down. They have this Wheaty music, this beautiful mouth string instrument. That's the weirdest sound you've ever heard. It's like bang 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 bang, and you've never heard a sound like this. And it's on this rapid fire musicality that makes your head insane. And they told me I was going to hate the music, and then I'd grow to love it. And when I first heard the music, I thought I was going to take a drill bit and put it through my skull rather than listen to it anymore. I was pretty sure if someone had offered me like, hey, would you like this giant screwdriver? You would do that instead. Listen to that instead. The sound of your brain being churned by a screwdriver as opposed to this music. I'd be like, absolutely. Sign me up. Let's go to Home Depot immediately. It was this music, you think you're going crazy. It's of different varying tempos. I just need you to hear what this sounds like really quick. And it's so loud. It's on massive speakers.
Yo, I think I could grow to love this though.
You can, but not when you're fucking tripping on psychedelic tree bark. It tweaks your brain in a way that completely short circuits you.
So why do they do it? Is that the point, to tweak you out?
No, there's a lot of reasons why they do it. It's the indigenous music from this Wheaty tribe, and the man who is in charge of the village, this is hundreds of years ago, maybe thousands of years ago, please don't quote me on this. This guy's wife went and caught a porcupine. The porcupine had been eating this tree. The wife cooks the porcupine for her husband, the elder of this tribe. Everybody goes fucking bananas. He talks to God. He comes back with messages from the sky. It's this like incredible trip. And they figure out somehow that the porcupine had eaten this bark of this crazy tree that's only found in Gabon, only in this one part of Africa, this tiny little country, this one kind of tree. And so it becomes their rite of passage ritual. Everybody takes it. When you do it in Africa, you do it in these huge huts with huge fires, with all this with a huge band. So it's like in a dome effect. So it's the music is ricocheting around and everybody's dancing. They do a communal ceremony together. I was unable to walk at all. I don't know how anybody dances. I don't know what kind of fucking magic these people have in their bodies, but there was no way my ass was moving at all, except to try not to go to the bathroom on myself, which you have to be helped to the bathroom. And the first time I went to the bathroom, I vomited like a million black spiders. That was the first thing that happened. And then I knew I was fucked. And I was like, do I flush them? Are they alive? I don't know. Do I like them? Do I like what do I let them like, I don't know. I was having a lot of interesting conversations with myself. I started seeing jaguars everywhere and giant antelopes everywhere. What's really funny is I did a whole boga ceremony, a session of podcast, and I never talked about my experience because I couldn't actually do it. I interviewed everybody else, but I couldn't talk about mine because it was so painful. But I basically saw a giant projection screen of every negative thing I'd ever said to myself about myself, my entire life, starting as a very young girl. I saw just incredible amounts of learning shame, learning body shame, learning sexual shame, learning shame from when my family lost all our money, when my father was an addict, from many different iterations of how I learned to hate myself and all the different ways I taught myself to language to hate myself. And what's crazy is I always thought of myself as incredibly like my whole being. And I'd always have been as a child. I was like, I am like #1 badass, suck this dick. But I had internalized it so deeply in my projected self of being strong that I completely had not given any attention to the deep, deep, deep self-hatred that I had developed as a kid. I was just so sad for my little person self, just so deeply sad for all of the things I had told myself about why I wasn't, so many different ways about not good enough, not pretty enough, not good, whatever, all of these things. So many things that I had to deal with. And it was so physically painful that I couldn't breathe. I felt like I was dying, truly dying, for 9 hours. I sat and I, just like you said, it's like this overwhelming sense of sadness for all the things that you've done to others and to yourself.
But it's almost like the sadness that you've kept tamped down all this time. It's almost like that initial seed that you've learned to ignore grew all these crazy roots and manifested in these toxic relationships.
Totally.
And weird behaviors, and drinking, and drugs.
And chaos. I'm so attracted to chaos.
Yeah.
I mean, my God, I have created and sculpted a life that is based on, in a deep fear of normality and a deep fear of a traditional sense of femininity and family. Real aversion to anything that felt like a paperless post-invite to a cranium night with white wine.
We're going to be good friends.
Yeah, right?
Yeah,
but
you're speaking our language.
That I avoided anything to do with responsibility, anything to do with financial stability, anything to do with health. I've always worked out or whatever, but deeply unhealthy behaviors. I developed really unhealthy relationships with women that abused me to my core. My male relationships have actually been much better than my female relationships. I developed a love for women, toxic women, that almost killed me. Iboga was a game changer, and it was a fucking nightmare. And deeply, I think the deepest learning that I had was we did it 3 times.
Oh my God, you had to go back.
And the second time, I called my mother and I just said, I can't do it. I'd rather die. I would rather die than do this again. We talked about it and she was like, you get to decide what you want to do, but you are the bravest and strongest person I know. And I know that you'll make whatever decision is right for you. And in the end, I had a picture of her and I just clutched it to my chest. I was like, it's going to be over at some point. So I did it again. And doing it again was actually the thing that taught me the most, which it meant that I can do anything. I would have done anything to get out of doing Iboga again. And I did it again. And I sat with that pain and I sat with that shame and I sat with that deep regret and loss, and I did it. And that to me was, I mean, I've survived all kinds of shit, but that was like that kind of, and you guys know this, you're deep psychologists,
Psychonauts.
So you're like, yeah, you know this pain.
Yeah.
And when you realize that you're tough enough to sit with it and make space for that fucking deep shadow, man, You are Xena warrior princess.
That's what I was just gonna say. You're a psychedelic warrior. You are. I'm looking at you.
But it was
definitely
brutal.
Yeah,
it was
people don't talk about that enough.
Mental gangbang.
I don't think people talk about that enough. Like, really, how truly hard this is, and how intense this is, and how it's a path that you really can't get off.
No, and it doesn't leave. And the residuals of it forever. And Iboga, what's really crazy is for days after, at nighttime, there's these tracers that happen with Iboga that are very, very, very psychedelic, and I can't really describe them. The world turns into Tron. Anytime you move your head with a light, the entire world fractals into light. Anytime a light is on in any way at dark, your eyes go fucking bananas. And you have these residual effects of Iboga for months. If you don't drink, if you do any drugs or drink, it kills the tree spirit.
We don't drink.
You just take a Big Mac and come down.
Can't have a Big Mac.
If you want to come down.
I don't think that's a good idea. Iboga gets really mad at you, dude. Iboga's brutal. If you go into Iboga and you're trying to control it, Iboga will fuck you in the ass, no KY, bend your ass over and make you its bitch. You are not gonna beat it. It is a fucking giant, masculine, fuck you energy that's gonna clean your ass out whether you like it or not. And not in a sexy way.
Not in the grapefruit way.
Nah, dude, no grapefruit, no liquid. Just dry your ass out and leave you out to fucking rot and die.
Dry as a bone.
Because 9 hours probably feels like 9 years.
It was actually
9
14
lifetimes.
hours. I actually had to take the most amount of Iboga, including all the big dudes that were there. I took the most of anyone. And it took the longest to hit me, which I didn't know if I was proud of that or not. Called my mom, was like, I had to take the most. She was like, is that good? And I was like, I'm not actually sure. But yeah, it was about 14 hours. You just think you're going to die. It is a death. It's an ego death, and it's a spiritual rebirth of which I cannot tout high enough. But if you do not do that shit unless you're fucking ready, because it could bury you.
Oh, yeah. All the intense things we talked about on this podcast. If you're into that kind of thing on the other side of it, you'll just be a way better version of yourself.
Oh, yeah. And it took a year. I took Iboga in March of last year, and the last 6 months after it were the worst months of my life. I was ready to die at multiple points. Mentally, I was like, I have no reason to live. And I had an amazing life. This was just deep, deep depression. And I finally made it through. It all clicked in, and the work and the struggle which was fucking so real. And it sounds even stupid saying that, considering I talk to people so much realer struggles, but in my little small world sphere, I was really struggling, and I finally made it through the other side. And all I can say to people is, if you're ready for a change, if you're truly ready to change, and the things in your life are not bringing you joy, and the people in your life are sucking you dry, and the work that you're doing does not provide you deep, fulfilling, soulful energy, you can change it. But fuck, you gotta be ready to work, and you gotta be ready to lose everyone and everything, and be ready that on the other side, a lot of your friends, a lot of the men or women or sexual partners, you just gotta be ready for people. And I mean, like you said before, like some people just...
The fall off.
First of all, they're not ready for the new version of you, because they want the caricature clown version of you that they're used to, the one that helps them be their...
Plays the game with them.
Right. And that doesn't let them be their best self. And this new version of you that's super confronting, one, because you've changed, which means that they could too. And two, you're not participating in the same activities that feel comfortable.
Damn,
like,
you just hit on some heavy stuff.
You know, like masking your shame, masking all this, like just smoke your shame away. Weeds, I'm not debasing any drugs. Again, I love them. Sorry, Mom. It's true. But if you are using them to hide, and you're not using them to learn or create better art or connect deeper or fuck better or taste food differently, and if you're not, and you're using it just to hide, the point is this: you can do it. These are tools that can radically alter your ability to exist in this world in a real way and connect with people and love people and like just show up.
Yeah.
Show the fuck up.
Saved our life.
I believe it. Once you break through, it's the greatest gift you could ever have in your own life, to wake up and truly love yourself. What a gift. It took a lot for me.
Then that
truly.
nakedness you're talking about, presenting yourself like that, that's when you just become the drug. That's when you dissolve and become the dream. And it really affects people. And a lot of people don't want to be around walking, talking, living acid.
No.
They can't handle it. They're like, dude, are you fucking serious right now?
I'm just trying to live, okay?
This is my life. This is my life.
Fucking walking, talking strip of acid. You're like what are those, the crystal balls of acid that people have to like have a paint thing around themselves, so can't touch it? You're like that crystal acid.
That's when Cass and I get together.
The thumbprint.
We're the thumbprint dose.
What is a thumbprint dose?
Google that. Anyone listening to this, and I highly recommend you do,
It's a rite of passage for some psychedelic cult, and it's called the thumbprint when they have that
This
crystal
sounds
acid.
terrifying.
They take the whole vial and they flip it. They lick their thumb and they flip it onto their thumb, and they take tens of thousands of micrograms. But we don't have to do that. We can just
let's not do
become
that.
it.
Please, can we not do that?
Just become it.
Yeah, please don't make me do a thumbprint on crystal.
Journalistic purposes.
Ooh,
Nah,
nice,
dude,
Cass.
I'm out. I'll fucking snort K and go to a sex orgy. I'll get a full Care Bear costume and go to a fur con and try to get a specially placed hold sewn in. I'll do anything.
We're going to smoke toad and go to a pussy eating contest.
Yo, that's going to go so poorly for me.
I think we can get you ready by then.
Honestly, guys, don't make me smoke toad and do sex stuff. I freak out.
They don't
together.
go hand in hand.
I am really good in bed, but only when I'm really in love. Anything other than that is a fucking disaster.
Well, that's what we were talking about, the bad sex.
I can't.
Disconnected
I have
sex.
no reason. I don't want to. I'm in such a protective state of myself and my body, and I've never been more productive, and I've never been doing doper shit. I'm crushing it, and the very last thing that I need is anything other than the fucking best. That elevates me. Fuck anything else. I don't need sex. I can make myself come better than anybody. I'm good. May I ask you if you would like to join me on the 25th of July to come to Zero Space, my alien interdimensional DMT gnome paradise?
That sounds incredible.
Don't you
We will
think
be
you're
there.
going to like it?
We'll be there.
You guys, I made a place just for you. I didn't know you yet, but I have been slaving away making a fucking psychedelic wonderland just for you.
We showed up just in time.
You did it. Oh, and the last thing about this is we need Burning Man tickets for y'all.
Oh, yeah. We are
Quick call
considering
out.
going to Burning
You're
Man.
going.
So
doesn't this feel like the synchronicity you were looking for? I'm a pro burner. I got this shit on lockdown.
Burning Man makes me feel like a boga.
Nah,
You know,
dude,
like,
you're such a pussy. Get out of here. A boga's fucking nightmare. Burning Man is paradise.
Okay.
What's wrong with you? Reframe.
Okay.
Rebrand.
I will.
Burning
That's
Man
it.
is literally paradise.
All right.
You have no fear. What do you have fear of? You've already confronted the hero's journey into death. What's your problem? You can't take a couple girls in tutus, riding dildo pogos, go on their way to a pyramid into the sky? You'll be fine.
I can do it.
I just feel like everyone there's so much cooler. Got somewhere to be, something to make, something to do.
Shut up. How dare you disrespect yourselves like that? You guys are the fucking dopest ass people. That's a real compliment.
I think it's a
So
match
get your
made in
shit
heaven.
together, guys. It's time to go to Burning Man.
This was so fun. Oh my God, we talked
It's
for so long.
fucking 10:30.
We talked for
Fuck
so long.
you guys. I have so much work to do. You are the worst.
We have to be at the airport at 6 a.m. Well, thanks for doing this. And,
Yeah, my pleasure. Yeah, we're gonna do
friendship
dope
here.
shit together.
We're going to follow you anywhere.
I definitely could use some people who are exploring their mind the way that you.
Other waters.
Yeah,
You're some deeper water than us, so we're excited to follow you out there.
yeah. I got some deep waters for sure. But I go into like really weird places. I hope you guys are ready.
All right, I'm going to
Woman
end
up.
this podcast.
Yeah, great.
Peace and
Bye.
love.
Adios.
Thanks, y'all.
I want to say a huge thank you to Cass and Sean for having me on their podcast called Very Ape. Got a really good taste of my own medicine with them. And it's been a long time since I have publicly spoken that intimately about myself. You know, you think doing a podcast where you're constantly speaking and putting yourself out there in a way would mean that you're constantly sharing. But I think if you listen to my podcast, you know I don't usually go as deep into the details about my personal life as I did in this one. And I must tell you that I had pretty much a nervous breakdown the next day about it. Sean delightfully called it a vulnerability hangover. And I think it was an important moment for me to have more empathy and patience for anybody that has the misfortune of coming across my microphones, because I think I expect people to share the world with me, and it's really hard. And so thank you guys. You can check out all of their work on their podcast, available everywhere. They have incredible documentaries that are available for free. You should check them all out. And I can't wait to see the cool shit we're going to do in the future. Synchronicity is a real thing. And a minor shout out once again to Noah and the Synchronicity Podcast and the MindPod Network for connecting me to them. And if there's any other podcasts out there that want to do a co-production, let me know. It is definitely a departure from the work that I have been doing, but there is something really interesting when a couple people just sit down for a couple hours. As for me, Zero Space, my alien light installation, is opening on the 7th of August for our beta testing week. It is not our grand opening, but we are selling tickets for the 7th. So you can go to www.zerospace.co. It is the best thing. And I've never been prouder of anything in my life. I'm working with the coolest fucking people on the planet, and I think we are going to bring to you something that you've literally never seen before. So I am very, very busy, but I am keeping up my 1 a week podcast goal because consistency is key. Rain or shine, I will be producing something for you. Whether or not it's good is up to you. It is hot, it is sticky, it is full-blown summer. Get those umbrellas, kids. It is soggy out there. And wherever you are, I wish you the ability to climb out of any pockets of sadness that you have and see the light. Go forth and build and create and love and challenge and suffer and survive and step up and do it again. Sending you all my love, guys.